First of all, thank you everyone for being here to make this show happen. Baruch Hashem, time to time I'm coming and I see that more I'm coming and more I see people, new faces that are participating in this shiur. So this is a tremendous zechut to be part of the shiur, especially shiur of Zera Shimshon, that the author of that book promised that all kind of blessing will come in your life if you're studying his book. So tonight we are going to learn, as usual, the book of Zera Shimshon, and the shiur is Bezrat Hashem given for Leilu Nishmat Eliezer HaKohen Ben Angela Lemishpachat Meirov, and also for Rachel Aliza Bat Ora Lemishpachat Nisanov. Tiye Nishmatam Tzerura B'Tzchor HaChaim. And thank you very much, Daniel HaKohen Ben Baruch, for making it happen, ordering so good food, Baruch Hashem, and may Kadosh Baruch Hu bless you with all success, Parnasa, Chinuch, anything you need, Bezrat Hashem, in a revealed way. Morai Verabotai, I would like to share with you the Zera Shimshon of this week. This parasha, Parashat Noach, is a parasha full of lessons, full of chidushim that we can say, but I would like to take an idea about the end of this parasha. After the Mabul, the Torah speaks at the end of the parasha that Avraham Avinu, our forefather, he was born, and the Torah says a pasuk that we don't know exactly what it means. We know we can translate it, but there is a deep meaning that we feel that something is missing here. And the pasuk says, "Vayamot Haran al pene be'ur kasdim." It says that the brother of Avraham Avinu, which is Haran, he passed away in Ur Kasdim, the city where he was living in Ur Kasdim. Now, this pasuk, why is very important? Why is different? Because if we read it, we see that it says Vayamot Haran al pene Terach Aviv, during the time of living of his father Terach. It means that the Torah wants to emphasize the fact that he passed away during the life of his father. And Chachamim are saying that even though that today, unfortunately, we can see cases of children passing away before their parents, Chas v'Shalom, should not happen on anyone. But in that time, in the time of Avraham Avinu, it wasn't happening like that. It was in chronological way. First, the parents are passing away, and then the children. And here comes the Torah with a chidush, with something new. And he says, Haran, the brother of Avraham, he passed away during the time of his father that he was still living. And the question comes to mind, what happened there? Why Haran was different than his whole generation, than most of the people? Why he passed away earlier? And here comes a tremendous story. And by the way, this shiur will be full, like 80% of story. And so now we start the story. You know that Avraham Avinu had a tremendous emunah. We always say you need to believe in God like Avraham Avinu, because the first believer is Avraham Avinu. He had a tremendous emunah. He believed in something that nobody, and even himself, didn't see before he believed. And he still believed. Until we are calling Avraham Avinu Avraham ha-Ivri. Avraham the Hebrew. That word Hebrew, Ivri in Hebrew, is a word that Chachamim are explaining it very deeply. And they said, what is Ivri, the Hebrew? Ivri means that Avraham was coming from the other side of the Jordan River, and therefore he was Ivri. Therefore, they were calling him, Avraham, the one that came from the other side. But Chachamim are saying, not only because of that, because of the reason of that name is that because he was believing so much to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and no one was believing such a belief as Avraham Avinu, he was able to be on one side of the world, on one side of behavior, and the other population, everybody else on the other side, they were into fashion, into business, into physicality, and he were standing strong in his belief. And therefore, because he was separated from the other side of the population of his time, therefore he's named Ivri, the Hebrew. And therefore, we are calling also the Jews in the desert, we call them the Ivrim, the Hebrews. Today we don't know what is the Hebrews. We speak Hebrew. What is Hebrew? Hebrew comes from Avraham Ivri, the Avraham that came from the other side of the Jordan Sea. And this is also one of the proof that we were in Israel so long time ago, and it didn't started 70 or 80 years ago. Morai v'rabotai, his emunah was tremendous, as we said, as we call him Avram Ivri, and in his generation he was also another man, powerful man, but he was very bad. His name was Nimrod. And Chachamim on him, on that guy, Chachamim are saying, why his name is Nimrod? I will say it in Hebrew. Mitkaven Yodea et Ribono ou Mitkaven Nimrod bo. He knew his master. He knew God. He knew him. But he was making everything possible in his ability to make him upset. He was going against God, even though that he knew, he wasn't ignorant. He knew who is God, and he was interested to make him upset. Therefore, because he was mored, meaning making, he was rebelling against God. Therefore, his name became Nimrod, the one that rebels against HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And this man, he had his God. His God. What was his God? His God, he was worshiping the fire. He was saying that the fire is the most powerful God. In fact, that he can destroy the whole world. You can light a small paper or something from a cigarette, and he can destroy the whole world if you don't stop that fire. And therefore, he was believing in the fire. And one day, this man came to Avraham Avinu, and he said, Avraham Avinu, you are believing in something that we do not see. I believe in something that is very powerful, and I can show it to you, because that is fire, and the fire can burn anything. It can destroy anything. I want you to worship my God. I want you to bow down to my God. Avraham is, he has in front of him somebody so powerful, and he needs to be careful about how he's answering on that question. What would you answer? Avraham says, your God is very powerful. The fire is very powerful, but I have something that is much, much more powerful than fire. And it's called water, because if you put water on fire, the fire doesn't exist anymore. So it means that the water is more powerful than the fire. So Nimrod is itching his head like this. He says, oh, wow, you're right. So you know what? I want you to bow down to water, because the water is so powerful, even more than my God, the fire. So bow down. I want you to worship the water. Avraham is saying, but I want to tell you something else. You know that the water is not the source of it. The water, the source of the water is from the clouds. The clouds, it's raining, and then we have water. And the wind is able to move the water. And as you see in the beach, you can see the water is moving from where? From the beach, from the wind. And because of that, we must say that the wind is much more powerful than the water. So Nimrod is looking at Avraham. He says, yes, you're right. The wind is much more powerful than the water. So you know what? I have a request for you. Bow down, worship the wind. Avraham doesn't stop. Avraham says, you know what? The wind is much more powerful than the water, and the water from the fire, but the wind is not much more powerful. We have something even more powerful than the wind. And this is the warmth, the sun and the warmth of the air, because the sun and the warmth of the air can stop winds. When you have big winds and suddenly it becomes hot, it becomes warm, so the winds are stopping and coming down. So it means that the warmth is more powerful than the wind. So Nimrod says, 1 second, you are making now fun of me. I'm asking you something and you're answering something else. And then let's go back to my first question. Can you worship my God, please? I want you to blow down to my fire here. If not, I will throw you into that fire and you will get burned. Obviously, Avraham Avinu didn't agree. Avraham Avinu didn't agree. And Nimrod, powerful man, he told his guards and everybody to take Avraham Avinu and to throw him into that fire. And this is the miracle of Ur Kasdim that Avraham Avinu was in. Do not forget, we are now explaining why Haran passed away during the time of his father. So Avraham Avinu, he jumped into the fire, and here the Gemara comes and tells us the background of what happened there. The Malach Gabriel, angel Gabriel, came to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ribono Shel Olam, master of the universe, you gave me as a job to be in charge of the fire in the world. Here you have a tzaddik, which is Avraham Avinu, that is going to be burned by the fire. Let me go down and let me cool off the fire of that fire. So Avraham Avinu will not get burned from that fire. Hashem answered to Gabriel, he says, oh, wow, you're so nice. Thank you very much, but I don't need you. I don't need you. I will need you later. So Gabriel is looking at Hashem and he says, why? Why not me? He says, you know why? Because Avraham Avinu is doing tremendous things. He's unique in his kind. Nobody else is doing what Avraham Avinu is doing. He's caring about other people, about the belief in me, right? So because he is unique in his kind, only me, which I am also unique in my kind, only myself will go down and will save him. And the Gemara says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't let Gabriel, which is the angel of the fire, to come down and save Avraham. HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself, just like the Jews in Egypt, HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself came down into that fire and saved Avraham Avinu. He didn't get burned miraculously, and he got saved. Meanwhile, our guy, Haran, the brother of Avraham, he was listening to what's happening. He was believing in God, and then suddenly he had a question about the belief, and he stopped to believe, and then suddenly he felt something, and he started again to believe. He was not stable in his belief. In fact, people were coming to him, and he said, you are the brother of Avraham. Are you believing in Abraham's God too? Are you also like Avraham, like a crazy guy? You believe in something that you don't say? And Haran never said that it was politically correct, and he never said a clear answer, yes or no. He was always, answering that not clear. And when he saw that miracle that Avraham Avinu got saved from that fire, he said, when people came to him asking that question, he said, yes, I believe in Avraham Avinu's God. And then people, when they heard that, they said, okay, let's try with you. Avraham Avinu jumped into the fire. Let's try it with you. And they took him and they threw him into the fire as well. But unfortunately, the miracle didn't happen twice, and he got killed in that fire. In the fire that Avraham Avinu was supposed to get killed, and he was saved by God, as we said, Haran got killed, burned in that fire. Come the question to mind, why Haran wasn't saved? Why Haran wasn't protected just like Avraham Avinu? And the answer is, you know why? Because the believing of Haran wasn't strong and stable like the belief of Avraham Avinu. And because the level of belief wasn't so high like Avraham Avinu, so the miracle didn't happen like Avraham Avinu. However, HaKadosh Baruch Hu he paid him in zechut, in merits. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided to give him tremendous gifts. In fact, Haran, the daughter of Haran, was Sarah Imenu. Sarah Imenu is the daughter of Haran. Not only that, Lot is also from the descendants of Haran, the son of Haran. And from Lot came who? The Melech HaMashiach. Melech HaMashiach came from Moab, which Moab is the son of Lot. And this was the gift that Haran got, even though that he wasn't saved like Avraham Avinu, but he got a tremendous zechut that his descendants is so powerful like the Melech HaMashiach. Okay, very nice. So what we saw until now, we saw the story of Abraham, how he got saved, and why the Torah says that Haran passed away before his father, because of that whole story with the fire, etc. Now, the question comes here like this. You know, about, you remember that Gabriel went to HaKadosh Baruch Hu to save Abraham. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, no, I will need you later on, not now. Now I'm doing it. 1,500 years later, the Bnei Israel came into Eretz Israel, they conquered the land, they built the Bet HaMikdash, the first Bet HaMikdash, and they also got that Bet HaMikdash destroyed. And they found themselves into the exile of Babylon. In exile happened the story of Purim, right? But before the story of Purim, it was a king named Nebuchadnezzar, which is the ancestor of Vashti, Nebuchadnezzar. And this Nebuchadnezzar was a tremendous, powerful king. He won all his war. He was so powerful. And the story goes like this. In the book of Daniel, that story is written. Nebuchadnezzar sleeps in one of the nights, and he starts to make a dream. In that dream, he sees a huge idol, big idol, statue. And this idol was huge, and each part of it was made with a different material. His head, of the idol, was made out of gold. Then the arms in silver, the body in copper, and then the legs in metal, and then the 2 feet. One was clay, in clay, and then the other one was also in metal. This was what he was dreaming about, a huge statue. And suddenly in his dream, he sees a small stone, a small rock coming, flying, and hitting very hard, a small stone, very hard in the feet of that statue. And because of that, the statue lost the balance, and it fell and got broken in pieces, and that was very, very scary to see it. And what happened? Nebuchadnezzar opened his eyes in the middle of the night. He's looking around, and he sees, and he sees everybody sleeping. Everything is calm. He made a nightmare, and then he see himself, sweating, stressing about something. He doesn't know. He tried to remember his dream, and he couldn't remember the dream. And he tried for the rest of the night. He tried to think, what was the dream? What was it? He doesn't remember. And then what happened in the morning? He's calling all the experts, because each king at that time, like Paro, right? We know that story as well. They had experts to interpret the dreams. So he's calling all those experts, and he's calling them. He says, my dear experts, I'm paying you a lot of money. Just in case I make a bad or a good dream, I want you to interpret my dream. So everybody gets prepared. And they said, yes, dear king, what is your dream? He says, here is the thing. You need to tell me what is my dream, and you need to interpret it. And they all look at him and they say, you want us to tell you what you dreamed about? But, we can interpret. You cannot. This is a prophet. You don't need us. You need a prophet. He says, yes, I want you. I'm paying you so much money for that. I want you now to work. And the guys were lost. How can we now prophesize about a dream that happened last night? We don't know. And Nebuchadnezzar, that was very powerful, decided to make 3 days. In 3 days, if you come with my dream, good, with interpretation, of course. If not, I'm killing you all. All those experts are not working, so you get killed. And they tried to figuring out until they went to the prophet of the generation, Daniel. Daniel, he heard about it, and he was also part of the kingdom. He was also threatened by about what the king said. So Daniel is thinking and he's praying to Hakadosh Baruch Hu to give him to prophesize about the dream of Nebuchadnezzar, and Hakadosh Baruch Hu gives him that prophecy. And after 3 days, Daniel is coming to Nebuchadnezzar, and he says, "My dear king, I have good news for you. I have your dream and I have your interpretation." And the king is looking at seriously on Daniel, and he says, "Go ahead, I want to hear." And again, Daniel start to explain that dream. He says, "I see that you saw a big statue. And that statue made with different materials, the head, the arms, the body, the legs, and the feet. And a small rock is hitting the feet, and the old statues falling down, break apart. And then that small rock is growing and growing and growing, and is taking over the whole space of the world." And he says, "Wow, that's the dream. I remember. Yes, that was the dream. Wow, it's so powerful. So tell me what is the interpretation?" So Daniel is looking at Nebuchadnezzar, and he says, "My dear king, I want to tell you something. This statue symbolizes all the nations that will come after your kingdom. And I will tell you the following. The head of that statue is made out of gold. This is your kingdom, your kingdom. This is Babylon, because you're powerful like the gold. And then you have the arms made from silver. This is the kingdom of Greeks and Persia, the two arms. Then you have the body made out of copper. The copper is the Greeks that came after Persia. It was only Greeks. So you see that it was tremendous, powerful kingdom, and then weaker and weaker. And then he said the legs made out of metal. This is Rome kingdom. And finally, the feet of that statue, the clay and the metal, will be the two kingdoms that will be like the last kingdom before Mashiach is coming. It will be Rome, like the legs, metal, iron, and Ishmael, the Arabs. And by the way, this is what we see. We see today, we have the America, Europe, this is Rome kingdom, and then you have the power of the Arabs, which is more in Asia. And he says like this. Daniel continues his explanation, and he says, "These are all the nations that will happen until the coming of Mashiach." And here comes the Mashiach. This small rock, is basically part of earth, part of the ground. This symbolizes eternity, because the earth will always stay forever. And by the way, this is the reason why when we are going to visit a grave site, we put a rock on top of the matzeva. Why is that? Why we put that rock? Because recording afterward. So why is that? Because the rock is eternal, and because it's eternal, we want to say that just like that rock is eternal, the neshama of that person is also eternal. And therefore, we make shiurim to elevate the neshama. Therefore, we make oshovo. All the celebration that we do for people that passed away is because that the neshama is forever, just like the rock. And here comes Daniel, and he says to Nebuchadnezzar, that statue, huge, powerful statue, will fall with that small rock, which is the Jewish people that are very small people in amount. And the Melech HaMashiach will come and will hit in the leg, in the 2 feet, which is the last kingdom before the coming of Mashiach, and the whole statue will break down on the floor. And then that rock will grow and will become big until it's taking over the kingdom of the whole world with the coming of Mashiach. Morai ve'rabotai. So here, Nebuchadnezzar, which is a powerful king, He's not like weak people of today. He's somebody that will not leave it like that. He says, wow, Daniel, now I believe in you. You are my God. You are my God, because you can prophesize about what I dreamt, and also you can interpret it so nicely. I believe in you now. You are my God. You see, it's not the first time that we see a Jew that becomes God, right? So what happens? So what happens? The king Nebuchadnezzar believes in Daniel. He keeps him, he protects him very much because he loves him now. And he says, but what can I do in order to cancel that bad dream that I had? I need to cancel because I want my kingdom to remain forever, just like that rock. So he's thinking, and he says, you know what? Daniel told me that my kingdom is made out of gold. This is the head, right? So I will make that same status that I remember now from my dream. I will make it, all of it, from the head to the feet, out of gold, just to show everyone that my kingdom will remain forever, from the head to the feet. And what I will do, I will call 3 representatives of each nation of the world to come here. I will place them in a circle around it, and everybody will bow down, worship that statue, and this will be the symbol that my dream will be canceled and my kingdom will stay and last forever. Okay, so he's going to produce that statue, and that statue is huge, just like in the dream of Nebuchadnezzar. He's so happy, and now he's calling from each nation 3 representatives. Until he's getting to which nation? You know, the Jews. And now he's itching his head. He says, I know that the Jews will not do it. They will not bow down. They will not bow down because they cannot bow down to Avodah Zarah. Who are the representatives that I can call? And he's starting to think, and he says, you know what, Daniel maybe. No, but one second, Daniel is my God. If he will not agree to bow down, I will have to kill him. I don't kill my God. I cannot kill my God. I need to keep him. I need to protect him. So he's thinking again, and he says, you know what, with Daniel, we have the helpers, the people that are working with him. Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah. 3 tzaddikim, Jews, 3 people, just like the 3 representatives that I need. I will call them, and they will be the ones that will bow down in front of my statue. And here we have all the representatives of the nation of the world with Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah standing there, and Nebuchadnezzar is starting his speech, and he says, Morai verabotai, not like that, but he says, my dear friends, he says, I want you to bow down to that statue because this will be the symbol that my kingdom will last forever. I made a bad dream, and this will be the answer of my dream. And he says, okay, everybody, and he goes one by one, like all the representatives of the world, until he's arriving to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, and they refuse to bow down. They refuse to bow down. Nebuchadnezzar said, okay, fine, no problem. Either they bow down, I will send them into fire. I will throw them into the fire. I will show them what's mean to not bow down to my statue. And they refused. They still refused. And this is what happened. Nebuchadnezzar said to his guard to take those 3 people to the fire. Morai verabotai, do you remember what Gabriel with HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Avraham Avinu, what happened? And here comes the same scenario, a little bit different. Look at that. Listen to that. And those 3 tzaddikim are thrown into the fire. Gabriel is going to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he says, Hashem, now is the time. You told me in the time of Avraham Avinu that I will be used to save tzaddikim. Here we go. And suddenly another angel comes up, and he shows up, and he says, up, 1 second. I am the angel of the snow, Barad, of the snow. And I will be the one that goes down. So Gabriel says, who are you? He says, yeah, I am the angel of the snow. He says, but we never saw you. He says, no, I am the angel of the snow. We want now the fire to become cold, right? Because we don't want them to be burned. So we want a cold fire to not burn them. So I'm the snow guy. I'm the snow angel. So I can make it cold. So Gabriel, he says, but 1 second, I have to go myself. You know why? Because number 1, Hashem told me so. When Avraham Avinu, we had that same issue with Avraham Avinu, Hashem said, I will use you later. And number two, this was the main answer of Gabriel to that other angel. He says, you know why? You know why I need to go and not you? Because for the angel of fire to cool off fire, this is a bigger miracle than to use the angel of snow cooling down the fire. Because you are the snow guy, right? So you will make the fire cold. This is okay. It's a miracle, but not such a big miracle like myself, because I am the guy of the fire, Gabriel. And if the angel of fire is cooling off the fire, this is much more powerful, right? So I want to make a bigger miracle for those three tzaddikim. And this is what happened. Gabriel came down and he saved Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Morai verabotai, Zera Shimshon is coming and he's asking a question. And he says like this: why the angel of the snow didn't show up when Avraham Avinu came was thrown into the fire, when suddenly he came with Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah? And he says, and number two is, why the angel Gabriel, he says, why I should go? Because a big miracle will happen from me and not from you. You should say, because Hashem promised me that I will go next time. Why? You need to tell me another reason for me to go. You need to tell him, you need to tell the other angel, let me go because Hashem told me so. And the answer is the following. And the answer is the following. The Zera Shimshon says like this: you need to know that Gabriel, beside the fact that he is in charge of fire, he is also in charge of people that symbolized fire. What is the meaning of people symbolized by fire? The tzaddikim. The tzaddikim are symbolized by fire. How do we know that? Because the Gemara says you need to stick with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You need to merge with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, as the Gemara says. But how can we merge with Hashem? It says, Hashem esh ochlahu, God is a fire. If he's a fire, we cannot merge with fire, we get burned. So the Gemara is answering, you know how can we merge with Hashem? You need to merge with the Talmidei Chachamim, the Torah scholar that are learning. You need to take a part of their learning to help them, to encourage them in their learning. This is the way how you merge with God. So from here we understand that who are the people that are symbolized by fire, the Talmidei Chachamim, and come here, the Zera Shimshon, and say, you know, Gabriel is not only in charge of the fire in the world, he is also in charge of the tzaddikim that are symbolized by fire. And here comes the difference. It says, Avraham Avinu was a tzaddik. So Gabriel shows up to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and he says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, let me go. Why you? Because I am fire. Because I'm fire and also I am in charge of the tzaddikim, he is a tzaddik. I need to go. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, no, yeah, that's right. You are in charge of tzaddikim, but here is one of his kind. So I am also one of my kind, so therefore I need to go myself. So he pushed them on the side and he said, no, you're not going, I'm going for him. Okay? By Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, the situation was completely different. Yes, they are tzaddikim, but here the Zera Shimshon says, when Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah were thrown into the fire, he wasn't only them being thrown into the fire. It was also people around making fun of them. And because they were making fun of them, came that other angel and he said, Gabriel, I understand. You are in charge of tzaddikim, you need to protect them. I understand that. But here we need to give a punishment also to the people that are making fun here. And I am more in charge than you to give a punishment to those people than you. Because you are in charge only of tzaddikim, I can go and make that fire tremendously powerful outside and cold inside for the tzaddikim. And because it will be tremendously hot, burning outside, so the people around will get burned. And this will be their punishment. By Avraham Avinu, nobody were making fun of Avraham Avinu when he was throwing on the fire. So therefore, Gabriel showed up. That's it. No more, no other people. By Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah, people made fun of him, of them. Therefore, the Malach of the Barad, of the snow, he was there and he said, no, I need to give punishment also to the people around. So therefore, Gabriel came and said to the other angel, you're right, you want to give punishment, but one second, what are we doing here? Are we, like, if we put in a scale, protecting the tzaddik and giving a punishment to the people that are making fun of Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah, what do we want to do more? Do we want more to give a punishment to the people around, or we want to protect the tzaddikim? We want to protect the tzaddikim. So I am in charge of the tzaddik, not you. You are in charge to give punishment to people outside. No, fine, no problem. But we want more to protect the tzaddik than to give punishment to the people around. So therefore, he said, it will be a bigger miracle for me to go because I am symbolizing fire, and for me to make fire cold, it's a big miracle than you, that you are a snow, the angel of the snow, that it's your job to do it. Morai verabotai. Therefore, we can understand how the Torah is tremendously powerful. This whole shiur that we said until now, right, is all related to one small pasuk. Vayamot Haran al pene terach aviv be'ur kasdim. One pasuk that says that Haran passed away during the time of living of his father in Ur Kasdim. And what is behind that very pasuk? That is basically, it's a hint. What we want to say by that, right? It's a tremendous story with tremendous details that is hidden behind that pasuk. And the question comes to mind. We want to learn from the behavior of Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu, he believed so much in God. We want to learn from him. And in fact, we have a lot of stories of Avraham Avinu. We have tremendous chidushim from Avraham Avinu. And the question is, why that story of Ur Kasdim and Haran and Avraham, and maybe also the story of Gabriel going to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, why it's not written clearly in the Torah? Akedat Yitzchak is written in the Torah. Avraham Avinu having Lech Lecha Me'artzecha is written in the Torah. Why this particular story is not written? And here comes a tremendous answer. You know, Avraham Avinu's job was to make sure that everybody will believe in God around him. And this was his goal. If on the way to reach that goal, to spread divinity outside, around himself, he had to get killed, to make Misirut Nefesh. He was ready for it. But what was his goal? To get killed? No. His goal wasn't to give himself up for Hashem. His goal is not to do Misirut Nefesh. His goal is to stay here in this world and to spread the unity of God. This was his goal. And if, by the way, he had to do Misirut Nefesh, he was ready to do that. Therefore, the Torah didn't write the stories that speaks about death of Avraham. Avraham Avinu was supposed to be dead at that story because he was thrown into the fire. So is that the goal of Avraham Avinu? No, it's not the goal. Avraham Avinu wasn't here to get killed. He was here to live and to spread divinity in the world. Therefore, the Torah doesn't write it. Yes, you need to know it, but you need to open the Gemara, you need to open the Midrash, you need to open other books that will explain you, because this is not your goal in your life. And here comes the message from this class. The message here is to learn from Avraham Avinu's behavior. What is the Avraham Avinu's behavior? You need to spread light around you, to spread divinity around you. When you're in a business, when you are just visiting some people, you speak about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You speak about your religion. And this is your goal. Our goal is not, Chas v'shalom, to get killed in order to do Misirut Nefesh. Rabbi Akiva, which is one of the tremendous tzaddik in the Jewish history, his goal was Misirut Nefesh, to get killed for God. He said, "Matai tavo liyadi v'kaimena." When already I will be able to fulfill that mitzvah of mesirut nefesh. So his whole goal in his life is to get killed for Hashem. Avraham Avinu said no. I want to teach my kid not to get killed for God, but to live for God. To be able to stay alive and to make sure that somebody else next to him will be alive the same way, believing in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is the power of the emunah that Avraham Avinu had, and he wants to teach us that power by what? By writing the story that are connected to life clearly in the Torah, and all the tests that Avraham Avinu had that are related to death, they are only hinted into the words of the Torah. So this is the message. Let's take it for us back home, Be'ezrat Hashem, to be able to have an impact on our surrounding, to make this world a better house for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Chazak u'brach.